Hit that like button if you like this video, and subscribe for more quality content. We've still got these limited edition, tournament edition t-shirts on sale for you guys. Feel free to pre-order them in the links down below.
I saw it, dudes. It's Craig here. I'm just looking for something in the cupboard. Why is it so dark in here? I can't see. That explains it. What's up, Card Lord Boards? It's Craig here, and today we're going to do a opening discussion review thing of the Lair of Darkness structure deck. So, I love structure decks because that's how me and my friends got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! That's how I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually. One of the friends jumped on the structure deck bandwagon, and so I just picked up 3 structure decks. I think my first deck was Lightsworn. I got 3 Revenge of the Light structure decks, and that's how I started playing. So, I like structure decks. I like playing structure deck tournaments, things like that. I enjoy them. So we're going to do an opening and review. So this Lair of structure deck is extremely difficult to conceive a deck around. So I've been trying to figure out how I want to play this deck, and I cannot figure out how I want to build it. But let's talk about the cards that come in, or the main cards. So these are the main cards in the deck. So let's start off with the field spell. So the field spell, all face-up monsters in the field become dark, and then once per turn, if I would tribute a monster I control to activate a card effect, I can tribute 1 dark monster my opponent controls. So this is like a kaiju, a pseudo kaiju eventually, where I make other monsters dark and then I tribute them for whatever effect I need to pull off. Let's say enemy controller or any of the crush card viruses, they'll all proc with this. Also, it has a second effect. Once per turn during during the end phase, special summon as many torment tokens, which are fiends, level 3, dark, and have 1,000 attack and defense, as possible to the turn player's field in defense position, up to the number of monsters tributed this turn while this card was face up on the field. So this helps both players actually. So if it's my opponent's turn and I use quick effects like from a crush card virus or an econ to tribute my opponent's monsters, they will get tokens and I won't. And they could use those tokens to like link summon, or they're level 3 so they could make Dante. There's an array of effects why that might be bad, so it's a double-edged sword. This is Arma the Wicked Warden. I can discard this and search the field spell, so it's like another terraforming. Also, I can tribute 1 dark monster and draw a card, which is pretty relevant. It helps cycle out your hands. Also, if a dark monster other than this was tributed, I can add a dark monster with 2,000 or more defense from your deck to your hand instead. So I could activate Lair of Darkness, summon him, tribute your monster, draw a card, and search your mainest boss monster, Darkest Diabolos. So the next card I'm going to talk about is Darkest Diabolos, Lord of the Lair. So it wouldn't be a Lair of Darkness structure deck if you had a Darkest Lord of the Lair, I guess. So it is a dragon. It has the stats of 3,000 attack, 2,000 defense. So it is searchable off Melody of the Waking Dragon, which is very relevant. Ooh. So the effect, and it's level 8, also very relevant. So the effect is, your opponent cannot tribute this face-up card in the field and cannot target it with card effects. You can only use each of these effects of the card once per turn. So if a dark monster you control is tributed, except during the diamond step, you can special summon this card from your graveyard if it was there when you tributed, or hand even if not. So if it was in the graveyard because you tributed it and then it was in the graveyard and a monster is tributed, you can special summon it, and if it's in your hand and anything gets tributed, you can special it. So it procs with like Dragon Shrine, Dragon's Ravine, Foolish Burial, and Melody of the Awakening Dragons. So these are all ways to like search or send this card to the graveyard, which you could then like add it back to your hand with certain effects, such like that. And so it's pretty good. And the second effect is you can tribute 1 dark monster, then your opponent places 1 card from their hand on either the top or bottom of the deck. So it's just a way to neg cards directly from your opponent's hand, so it's actually like really strong, really relevant, like a pseudo Omega or something. It just reduces the number of cards your opponent plays with, which is strong. And last, and I think the best card in the entire Lair of Darkness structure deck, is Lilith, Lady of Lament. So, she is a fiend, level 3, 2000 attack, 0 defense. And her effect reads, if this card is normal summoned, its original attack becomes 1000. Quick effect, you contribute 1 dark monster, reveal 3 normal trap cards from your deck. Your opponent randomly chooses 1 for you to set on the field, and you shuffle the rest back into your deck. So, a good friend of mine named Luke Gallardi informed me that stable traps run Yu-Gi-Oh! So let's try and think of some stable traps that is a normal trap, which is now searchable with Lilith, Lady of Lament. So I hear that Torrential Tribute is now at 3, so extremely relevant. Bottomless Trap Hole, Floodgate Trap Hole. I was gonna lead up to that.
Oh, okay.
Artifact Sanctum is a normal trap card. Dimensional Barrier is a normal trap card. Evenly Matched is a normal trap card. It would be a lot stronger if it added it to your hand, like the most strong, but because it sets it, you can't activate the Evenly that turn anyways, but it's still pretty irrelevant. Also any Mirror Force. So Storming, Quaking, Drowning. Oh, that card is pretty good. And then it also searches you all your virus cards. So all the virus cards are extremely strong, extremely relevant. So we'll go over that in a minute. But yeah, this searches you Disruption on so many levels, and it's such a powerful card. And I think it's an extremely splashable engine. Also, you can play this card in Tricksters, and it will search you Light Stage. Not Light Stage. Reincarnation. Whew, my bad. Reincarnation is also a normal trap card. So if you needed to play more than 9 starter cards, you can now play 12. So it's strong and relevant. Now for Grave Grinning Virus, that is the new virus card that came out in the structure deck. So it reads, you tribute 1 dark monster with 3000 or less attack. Your opponent destroys 1 card of their choice in their hand or deck for every 500 attack monster, for 500 attack that monster had on the field. If you tributed a monster with 2000 or more attack to activate this card, look at all the cards your opponent draws until the end of their 3rd turn after this card's activation and destroy all monsters among them. Cards destroyed and sent to the graveyard by this card's effect cannot activate their own effects that same turn. So you activate this, tribute something like Darkest Diabolos, and they destroy 1 card for every card, so it's going to be 30 divided by 5 is 6, if I'm correct. So they destroy 6 cards. Also, for their 3rd turn, you can look at all their cards and destroy them. It's relevant because if your opponent plays dinos and they draw like babies, they destroy and get their effects. So this card is really good because it allows them to not do that. Also, it's a very generic virus. They just have to destroy 6 cards from their hand, which is extremely strong. Like, you summon this, flip this on their standby phase after they draw, and they just destroy all 6 cards in their hand. Like, whew. That card is spooper.
It also looks cool.
It also looks pretty cool, but it's only a super. Rip. So now some of the other relevant cards. Duke Shade, the Sinister Shadow. You probably play this at 1 or 2 in the deck. So you can tribute any number of dark monsters, special summon this card from your hand, and it gains 500 for each monster tributed. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target 1 level 5 or higher monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of Duke Shade once per turn. So you activate a card like Dragon Shrine, you send Darkest Diabolos to the graveyard, you summon Duke, add the Darkest Diabolos to your hand, you activate a virus card, destroy this, Diabolos special summons, activate another virus. Like, this card is all about extreme control with very crushingly powerful trap cards. And that's the main prospect of the deck. So now a bunch of staple cards, we won't get into that. A bunch of like filler cards that come in most structure decks, like generic support for whatever cards come in. They just synergize with dark cards. They're not extremely relevant. You wouldn't play any of them. Some of the good reprints though. Fiendish Rhino Warrior, extremely important in BAs. Tour Guide, also extremely important in BAs. And Absolute King Backtrack, very relevant in 60 card Paleozoic. So this Fiend monsters you control can be destroyed by battle or card effects. So it's very relevant in BA, obviously. And when it's sent to the graveyard, you can Foolish Burial one Fiend monster from your deck. So you cannot send Darkest Diabolos, but you can send a bunch of other cards, which is very relevant. Tour Guide tutors out Lilith, but it's not terribly relevant because the effect is negated, but it's still strong. And Absolute King Blackjack tutors out Traps. Curry Bandit and Relink Karibo, these are just generic filler structure deck cards that are in most structure decks. It's not really very much of a big deal. They're just in here for filling. Recurring Nightmare. Target 2 dark monsters with 0 defense in your graveyard. Add those targets to your hand. So, Lilith and Arma are both 0 defense, so it just adds back Lilith and Arma. It's good for follow-ups and grind plays. It's pretty powerful, but it'd probably be a brick at 2 penny copies. Allure of Darkness, because generic dark support is really strong and drawing cards is really strong. Hand Destruction, again, like a lot of these cards are fine in the graveyard. So you play this card, you shuffle out the bad cards in your hand, and then these cards that are good in the graveyard and out in the graveyard, and you can do things with them. So it's really powerful. Foolish Burial Goods, another very, very strong reprint. This only got printed in Secret and then the reprint Mega Pack, so it's very relevant. It's good in a lot of decks. I don't see why it's very relevant in this deck in particular, but it's pure, so it's a good reprint. It's good to have. Generic spells. These summons out tokens. Tokens are good for blink summoning, so it's very powerful. Yeah, these are good. Sorry, I have to read this card. I don't know why this card isn't played more. It's 2 tokens for free. What?
Cards of Doomsday?
Yeah.
Used to be in Destiny Heroes.
You can't summon... Oh, other monsters this turn. Okay, that's why. Okay, no, that card's poop. Boogie Trap. Discard 2 cards and target 1 trap card in your graveyard. Set that target. It can be activated this turn. Ooh, so this is the spoopiest. So you activate Foolish Burial Goods, you send Evenly Matched to your graveyard, then you activate this, and then you activate Evenly Matched. Miss me. That's a feels bad play. More filler, dark monsters. So good reprints. I'll take that out, hold it for later. These aren't very relevant. The original Diabolos cannot be special summoned. If you tribute summon this card, the tributes must be dark. Cannot be attributed by card effects while face up on the field. Once per turn, during your opponent's draw phase, before their normal draw, look at the top card of your opponent's deck, and if you do, place that card on either the top or bottom. So you stack your opponent's deck. That sounds fair. I remember the last card that did that. I heard he got hit to 1. Shout out to my boy, Drone. And then 2 amazing reprints, Caius and Mega Monarch and Vanity's Fiend. Vanity's Fiend being one of the most powerful monsters ever printed in common. Arguably the most powerful common ever. And Caius, it's good. Irrelevant filler. Weak boys only. Generic more filler card. This card is pretty relevant, Curse of Darkness. So each time a spell card is activated, immediately after it resolves, that player takes, the activated takes 1,000 damage. So it's good for just burning cards that activate a lot of spells. It's not terribly relevant, it's just pretty good. And then Sinister Yoshiro allows you to normal summon a level 5 or higher Fiend monster instead of tributing it, which is very relevant. You can do it for Vanity's Fiend, which is very strong. It just makes an instant floodgate, which is spoopy. Veil of Darkness. During your draw phase, if you draw a dark monster, you can reveal any number of them, send them to the graveyard, and then you can draw 1 more card. So, it's alright. You could draw, a brick card and then cycle through your hand to make it better, but this isn't terribly relevant. 2 more filler cards. Trap of Darkness. If your life points is 3,000 or less, pay 1,000, target 1 normal trap card in your graveyard, except Trap of Darkness. This card's effect becomes that target's effect, then banish that target. When do you... I don't know how to use this. It's probably pretty good.
When you run out of Evenly Matched?
When you run out of Evenly Matched, and you gotta resolve a 4th Evenly Match. Oh. And Dark Light. Tribute a dark monster with 1500 or more attack. Destroy all monsters that were special summoned this turn. Like, pretty irrelevant. Not terribly great, though. I guess you could, like, activate this, tribute a monster they control with the Lair, and then blow their board. Like, sure. And Mind Crush, another great reprint. Helps beat evenly matched. Very, very relevant. Pretty good. And then it gave you one of the virus cards, which is really good. Crush Card Virus deals with strong monsters in your opponent's hand. Epidemic Eradicator deals with either spells or traps. Probably very powerful in the Draco matchup. You tribute a dark monster and then declare spells, and most of their deck is spells, so it's strong. Deck Devastation Virus deals with weak monsters your opponent controls, so 1500 or less. And Full Force Virus deals with defense defense stats, so 1500 or less defense, and they go to the graveyard. And Jeton. That's pretty much been the deck. Notable cards to consider, again, are the first four. The Darkest Diabolo, Lilith, Arma, and the Thing. Pretty much the shiny cards in the deck. A lot of people are saying this card, Great Engrave Virus, is pretty bad, but maybe I'm reading something wrong. You can let me know in the comments below. I feel like this card could be very powerful. It, like, kills your opponent's entire hand if you tribute a Darkest Diabolos. Like, why would you not want that? I think you could play a lot of send this card to the graveyard cards, so you could play like Dragon Shrine, Dragon's Ravine, Foolish Burial, all these to get this out, and then you can play a bunch of revival cards like Return of the Awakening Dragon, Monster Reborn, Back to the Front, which is also searchable off Lilith, so you can ditch this, play Lilith, tribute her to get like a Back to the Front, and then set this, bring it back on your opponent's turn, and during their standby phase still, you flip it, and they lose most of their hand. So I feel like that's a pretty strong combo play you can do in this deck. And that's been the review. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and all those relevant things to help out our channel. You can check out our Patreon page. Pretty sure Dorian set it up already. And thanks for watching again.
Yeah. Styling, no. Listen, but got pictures with me smiling, no. All the things you need, you still want problems, though. All the things I know, I still been silent, though.